I'm about to start reaching out to Tangible Park Baptist Church and also Lion City to see if I can get together sometime where I can get some free tutor for the children inside of Tangible Park as well.
Okay.
But I also wouldn't mind doing like a weekend where I would try to help out the Pine Hills area. Because also when I was down in Palm Beach County, I did help out the Brothers from the Nation of Islam, and when they had tutoring on Saturdays to for the children inside the neighborhood. So,
Yes, I know you got a lot of experience with it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's and one thing too that we was talking about the last forum was a way to get it out and actually going. We could start off with client homes, and as far as with you, what I could do on my part to try to help is try to find people to help recruit. I want to also help, tutor and mentor too.
Yes.
So, we could just find one person each and we can all coordinate, what we could do. But that was one thing that they suggested at the last forum, was educational and tutoring. So that is something that I could kind of, if people are interested enough, we can have a meeting for that. But if it's just a couple people within us, we can come together and you can just let me know. So is there anybody here who would be interested in tutoring or mentoring, being part of that kind of committee? All right, so what I could do is, if you signed into the sheet already?
Not yet.
Okay, when you get a chance to sign in the sheet, there's a box to the far end. Just check it. I'm gonna write something on it too. It's for the committees. And what I'm doing is basically we're gonna follow up, and within us, we have to make meetings for these committees. The forum is just a place for us all to meet at, but we have to just kind of meet outside of these forums and actually put this stuff into play. So that is something that we can schedule a meeting for also, and that's something that's not too much high maintenance. We can actually do that by finding somebody. You might know some kids at the Chicago who need some help, and we can start from there. I do know of two programs. One is for at-risk. It's called HBI. It's a program for juveniles who've been at risk. They will do mentoring programs to help them learn how to build homes. And I also know a program for daughters, for females, called Saving Our Daughters. It's for young girls, and they're very active. They have meetings every week, and they do field trips and workshops and different things of that nature. So that's something that I'm getting information for them to send us out to us separately too. We can just spread the word. One thing that TJ loves to say, and he can speak later, is about not reinventing the wheel. We have programs in place already, but this is a place we're supposed to promote them. Okay.
Hello. I had another tutoring place that I wanted to tell everyone about. It's called High Tech Tutoring Center,
Okay.
and it is on Orange Blossom Trail. It's been around since like the 80s, a long time. So, and I'm gonna refer you all the mission just really quickly so you can know exactly what they're all about. My aunt is actually the person who runs the tutoring center, and they're not doing well right now. So if you could even just recommend it to other people to help give them boost, that would be very helpful. So they provide workforce preparation, educational tutoring, and general support, computer assisted and personal guidance to low-income families and students from Southwest Orlando. They're on Orange Blossom Trail. And if anyone wants to find their Facebook page, it is High Tech HI with the dash Tech TECH Tutoring Center. They also have a website. Their website is High Tech Tutoring, spelled the same way without the dash though, .org. And you can find out more information there. And like I said, they've been around a long time. They have a very nice location. If you could please like the Facebook page, share it. Any kids that you know, just tell them about it. They have an after-school program where you can come and get tutored. They would definitely be looking for tutors to help out and assist with the tutoring as well. And they also do a summer program. But aside from the summer, when it's during the school year, they do after school. So it's for low-income families. So definitely that is something that I think you should try to support and get them that doing well.
Perfect. All right. You have something to say too?
Paramore Kids as well, have tutoring, mentoring for Katie as well.
Perfect. Yeah, and Paramore Kids Zone, they're real good too. I know the people really good over there. So like we're talking about, just in case Scooter stepped in, we're talking about tutoring programs. The brother over there, he is a teacher at Wakava, so he does do math tutoring. And what we're gonna do is within us, we're gonna try to find more kids that we can start tutoring. I think a lot of these times with these things, we have to start it, and then people will start coming aboard with us. So the more we do it, the more we're active, the more people will actually see it. So was there any more points about, you know, educational programs that we could start or ones that we could promote before I move on to?
And to do what I took, how about some educational programs that can help us or even young adults that want to go into business for themselves? You know, we have to build our economics. That's the.
You know what? And this is right here. She's actually with Buy Black Central Florida. And one of the biggest things that they're doing is community-based economics. They just had a Know Your Rights workshop, you know, just passed a week and a half ago, I think about. And it was a workshop about your rights, but they do economic workshops for young adults. One thing we have to do is I'll update you. If you're here and somebody passes me the information, I'll pass it on to you. But we have to promote the ones that are going right now. There will be more workshops in the future, but you can always reach out, and you can reach out to her, and she may be able to help you incorporate some ideas you may have. So that is one thing I can promote on that. Anything else you want to say?
I was gonna say that maybe we can also have some type of way that we can reinforce our own type of cultural educational services as well. Maybe like a weekend, once a weekend or whatever. I know when I was at North Carolina A&T, I think like every once a month or maybe like twice a month we had dedicated one Saturday from like 8 to 12. We had a group of guys who was in the history club, and so we would dedicate about 4 hours every other Saturday, maybe like once a Saturday, to teach like African history to like kids in the South neighborhood as well. So maybe we can find a place, something like that, we can actually teach like African history.
Yeah, we actually have a cultural awareness we're going to talk about later on today too. So Sister Nancy Haley, she's actually working on that. We're looking for people who want to do that. So we're trying to actually get out there and teach people about our culture that's been lost. And so what we're trying to do is we're planning events. We have events coming up in the future that we can't include you, but we are trying to plan events, and we can start doing it seem like that.
I also wanted to say if you could list like opportunities for like our teams to
Is there anybody else who wanted to talk about the education part? Anything they want to add about tutoring or any mentor programs that you know of?
There's an educational program that's cultural as well as dealing with education as well. I'm a teacher with African Culture School. You may have already heard of it. But they do offer Saturday programs for children, and it is cultural based. So it's dealing with arts, science, history, as well as other avenues. So it deals with things that are definitely educational and cultural, especially specific for our African base.
So what I would need to do is like if you could just give me that information, you know, because I'm trying to promote stuff within. I got right now about 100 some emails from the last one, so we're going to try to promote that. And what also we're trying to do too with this stuff to make it actually effective is that's actually perfect. We're going to try to incorporate that cultural weekend and try to actually work on an upcoming event, and we'll keep everyone updated on it so, you know, we can all get involved with it. We have something coming up too, you know, that anything coming up, I'll make sure to include everybody and kind of invite you if you want to volunteer for it. But that's why I want everybody's email so much.
It's not cultural weekend only have to be for the kids, can it also be for the adults? Because I learned a lot from your movie that you showed the other, I don't know.
The Hidden Colors? The Hidden Colors?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's something that he actually does too.
That one. I was like, wow. Sorry, too good. I'm getting put on the spot.
Oh, no.
But there's things that I didn't know that I learned from that movie, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then when that guy over there was saying that they do it like once a month,
Mm-hmm.
and the adults get in on this too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I don't know. So
I don't know everything too. I'm be right there with the kids, trust me. So we can all be there. We'll make sure it's all ages when we do it though. We're not gonna make it just for the kids, but one thing we want to do is include the kids in everything we do. Have some kind of option for them. So is anything else anybody wanted to add about the education? Because what we'll do is we'll actually have something working on for the actual event, for the culture weekend, and that's something we talked about before too. We just need the people who are actually willing to help volunteer with it, and that's why we're trying to meet up and get that going. All right, so and one of the things is I do have people who are gonna come up here and talk to in a little bit, but one of the things which is kind of the main focus, this is kind of going back over the actual neighborhood patrol and whatnot, the community outreach. This is something that we can actually get started now. I've actually been recently going with Your Vote is My Voice, and he's back there, Desmond's actually representing it too. And this is something that they go out for convicted felons and they get the word out about local elections to let them know, even though they can't vote, they want you to vote and be their voice. And they have petitions for restoration of rights. We have some of those petitions up here in the front too. And I'm telling you, I went out over this week, and a lot of people don't know there's even a local election going on. I went to people and they're just like, oh, no Trump, no Clinton. That's the first thing they say. But they don't know anything about local elections. So one of the things that we can get power with is our voting. Because we might not be able to get it from the person in the office now, but we can get people in office who will listen to us. And that's one of the things that can be a driving force. And you might not realize it, but I've been out there, we've hit 60 to 75 the houses a day, and it's possible. And that's just with 2-3 people. But if we have more people, it's less stress on them, and we can actually do it. So the neighborhood patrol is gonna have that official neighborhood patrol, but this is something that's gonna be a part of it. The community outreach. One thing we can do is go out with petitions, get it signed. We can make sure the local residents are involved with the election. We can ask people what's needed in the neighborhood. And that's another thing that, we can actually do, go door to door. And TJ actually, put me on this. And this is basically where you go door to door and you find out what people need. I went to somebody the other day and they told me for 10 minutes about how the house floods every time it rains. And they wanted the commissioner out of there because it keeps flooding and they keep calling and don't get fixed. But small things like that will get a whole neighborhood out there to vote when they hear that somebody's gonna listen to that. So one of the things we wanted to do is we're gonna go out there and find out what people need. We're gonna go to these city council meetings and we're gonna be deep when we go there. And when we talk and we have 50 to 100 people with us, they're gonna have to listen. We're gonna have the proof that we went out there. We're gonna have every tool we need to actually make things happen. So that's one of the things that I want people to keep in mind when I say neighborhood patrol. It's not just neighborhood patrol to watch out for crime, it's to watch out for us too and to see what we can do to add to it. That's one of the things we could do. One of the things I did proposal that we'll do after we get official too is the days we can go out. I propose Wednesday afternoons because people get out of school early. Most of the time people are home. And then Saturdays too, because you're more likely to catch them home Saturday than Sunday. So that's one thing that I want to actually get started. But one thing that we can do, I don't know what y'all doing tomorrow, but I'm trying to get people to go out for the last day to go to the polls. And we're trying to get something that can happen that a lot of people show up and we're all in unison and we can all make a big statement if we go out to the polls and have a bigger turnout rate. The turnout rate, I told you, is real low.
What time did you have tonight?
Noon is what time I was suggesting. I think it's on the next slide. It's on the next one, I think. This is it. So this is a place that on this side of town, right not too far, the Hiawassee Branch Library. This is the address. I don't know if it's on that handout. I might put it in there. I might have. But this is the address. It's 7391 West Colonial Drive, Orlando, Florida. If you don't know, that's right there on Hiawassee and Colonial. I'm going to try to get people out there. It don't need to be 1,000 people, but we get 50 to 100 people out there tomorrow, and we're all together. They're going to make note of it. So this is something that is a dry run. If I could get everybody that's here there tomorrow, that'd be great. But I want to be out there from noon to I'll be out there from like noon to 1:30, 2 o'clock. And I'm going to try to get people out there. And I encourage y'all to put out the word. You might not think it's doable, but it can be done. If everybody here got one extra person to come, mission accomplished. So that's just one thing we're trying to do. So this is for tomorrow. That's the last day of early voting also. They're out there. You can early vote from 10 to 7. I will be email blasting you about this so you will see it again. And I'm just like telling you right now that this could be something that we do and actually make some waves. One thing too that, going into this, and I kind of want to segue into this, Brother TJ is going to come up here and talk about some things as far as things that we can get involved in. A big thing that goes on in Orange County is they have this thing going on like with the Democrat Party and with different parties. They have funds available to give and they have different things going on, but people don't know about it. And when they do their meetings for the Democratic Council meetings, it's not a big turnout to it, so the people who are in there, they're okay to make any decision they want. We can actually change that. We can show up. If this many people showed up to one of those meetings, they would be startled. They wouldn't know what's going on. So that's something that we're trying to get going on too. And I did want him to come up here and talk to you about some of the calendar events. Yeah. So, you know, this is TJ Cole, is a community activist, organizer. I'm telling you, do it all. But he's the one who put me on game, that's what I'm telling you. So he's going to talk to you more about the different things going on that we got going on.
Well, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. Thank you, everyone, for, Miles, for having this event. Thank you guys for coming out. I know it was raining earlier. I know we march in the community. We do a lot of those things, and those things are great. We spread awareness to the issues and know that we're here. But a lot of the decision making, when you're talking about political power and influence, comes from joining your actual local political party. Whether you're a registered Democrat or a Republican. Let's face it, the office of president does not directly affect our communities. We've seen that from the last president. So, President Obama. So we need to, if we really want to make change, we need to start focusing on our state and our local elections. So the best way, how many registered voters here in the room? So if you're a registered voter or you're a registered Democrat, you can join the local Democratic Party. They have about 100, and I'm one of them because I'm also a precinct committee man for 629, which is in the Rio Grande area, over in District 46. It's about 100 and so people. We have about 1,000 people that go out and march. So just think how revolutionary that would be if over 100 African Americans from the Central Florida area, Orange County, Orlando, joined the local Democratic Party. Then we will make sure that other people aren't speaking for our issues, because we want to make sure that our candidates, when they need to run for office, that they're actually being supported. We want to make sure that we are not just knocking on doors, or we're not just your canvassers, we're not just your phone bankers. We can actually be in leadership positions. And we're not talking about the hand-picked, selected Negroes that they designate that are just the good ones, that they give these positions to appease the masses, to say, oh, well, we do have diversity. If we really want to talk about issues pertaining to gun violence, holding these elected officials accountable, all of these elected officials, one by one, file into those meetings and talk at the Democratic Executive Committee meeting. So right there, you don't have to go searching for them. They'll come to you. But we have to do our part by joining. So how do you join? You show up to a meeting, the same way Miles was talking about, over 100 of us, we show up to a meeting, you're a registered Democrat, you sign up, you fill out the piece of paper, they confirm, they check that you're a registered Democrat, the next meeting, you're in, all right? They'll have elections for a new chair in, I believe it's in December. But if you were a committee man or committee woman in your precinct, which there are still vacant positions there. So you may join the local party, and all of a sudden you're a precinct committee captain. And so you, like a delegate vote, you have a vote when it comes to who's going to be the next chair. So that's where we need to gear our focus. They have, I believe the last, and I could be wrong, the last budget was over $42,000. So instead of us, and they have venues and meetings, so instead of us reinventing the wheel like we were talking about, we can use those resources, not just for the African American community, but the Latino community. We could use it for, for whites, blacks, it doesn't matter. But that Democratic Party, because black folks in Central Florida, we're more than just a vote. When they count us, when they count you, you're just a vote to them. You're not a voice. You're just, oh, well, we need the black vote. So we need African American outreach. So we'll put any black face, slap a title on them and say, okay, you're involved, you're the African American outreach coordinator, or you're affirmative action, because they really don't know, okay? So we need to cancel out the elitism that is plaguing the local party when it comes to some of the black folks that are in those positions, and really give them to the people who are the community organizers, the community activists that are actually engaged in the community, because that's what's gonna actually increase voter turnout. If there are people that are going into the communities that all they do is show up to galas, then people aren't gonna trust them and they're not gonna come out to vote. So we got to come together. That's one of the reasons, and I know I've given Miles a lot of dates for different committee meetings. The meetings are every third Monday of the month, and it ranges from 7 to 9. The meeting is 8:20 Virginia. So my goal, my personal goal and pledge, by the time of voting happenings for the new chair position, I want over 100 black Democrats. I'm going to double the size of the local Democratic Party. So if you're a local, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you're a registered Democrat in Orlando. So I need you, I need all of you, and then now is the time, when we're talking about the political landscape, I need you to come together, join the party, and we'll all march to those meetings. We'll join together, and then we will sit, wait, see what's going on as far as what they're doing now, and then we will then reform the party. And that's how you start a revolution politically, and that's how we become politically engaged. That's how our community will become more politically engaged, and the voter turnout will increase, along with starting initiatives such as the rest of, going out there signing petitions. Actually, all these things that you're doing right now, you can do under that umbrella. But you can not only just do it in the black community, or you can do it in all communities to teach them. Say, hey, this is how you actually have outreach. And then hold those elected officials accountable for the promises that they make. A lot of times people aren't going to go out and vote because they know the candidates, 90% of the things that they're telling them, they're not going to do. However, if the candidates actually come from this group of people that have actually been out there, that have a track record of actually doing things in the community, then they say, well, you know what? I'm just using an example. I know Miles didn't declare that he's running for anything. We know Miles. Miles has been out here organizing, knocking on doors. We know Wapale. She's been out here organizing, knocking on doors. She's had different events. And so we have her email, we have her phone number, so we know that we can put her in there and we can trust her and we can trust him because we know that we can contact them. They can't hide. They're not going to go nowhere. They're accountable to us, not big businesses. That's when we get the black economics behind us. Because if we are having group economics, supporting our candidates, supporting our people, well then we don't have to answer to special interest group where we have people going, whether it's in city council, whether it's the commission seats, or going to Tallahassee and voting against the interests of the people. So it's a great way to join the party and actually develop new leadership and the future leaders here in Orange County and Orlando. So I would encourage you all, that's my pledge, that, that's the next revolutionary thing. It's not, going on Facebook and debating each other back and forth. We've done all that. We've done all that. We're off that. We've graduated together. So, yeah, that's it. That's what we have.
I got a list of events. If you got questions for TJ or anything you want to add in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she had her hand. Go ahead.
What's the time span that we as a whole, like, as a group would anticipate to incorporate these cultural groups, as you just mentioned? Like, say if we start with the Afro-American culture, and they see that it's moving. So, how fast would you see that?
Well,
or you know it, you got the Latinos.
I don't have, and I'm not one of these people that if I don't know something, I'll tell you I don't know. So I don't have a definitive. I don't have a definitive answer. What I can tell you is that even though the people who vote are committee men and committee women for the next chair, vice chair, and all the executive board, if you have the majority of the people, they have to listen to you. You see what I'm saying? So if you're doing the outreach and you're trying, you may have different strategies that somebody in the Latino community, the number should be a lot greater than what it is. But if there's no clear direction, then we're going to get the voting turnout that we're getting right now. So, did you have a question on that?
Is there a way that you can register like online? That just makes it easier, but I understand.
The application to register to vote is online, but you actually have to print it out, sign it, and drop it off to the supervisor elections office. And I believe you can drop it off at the post office as well, and the library.
So that's a method I think we should probably get out to people. Even
Yes. Sometimes these organizing things, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, is giving people an opportunity, like you were saying, I didn't know. A lot of people say, I didn't know. So now, when you have these different events, you can say, when you're knocking on doors as far as doing your community patrols, you have information to tell them, say, hey, come to this watch party, and you'll meet some more people. Because once they see this, all this beautiful melanin in the room, and like, oh man, there's like-minded people together with me doing it, they're not gonna feel like that they're dumb or they don't know anything too much. Knowledge is power. So we're just trying to spread awareness. Real quick before I wrap up, I'll give it back to you. I didn't want to talk too long. I'm trying to gauge myself. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, hi, my name is Richard Johnson, and I've been doing things behind the scenes. One of the biggest things with any kind of movement, yours is mine, is funding. So you mentioned economic fundraising and things of that nature. What we need is a source of funders. What I've started, I started Nonprofit Cause Foundation. And the goal here is to be an incubator for causes, events, and things of that nature. Where we can fundraise. So we already have a 501c3 goal. So we don't have the cause underneath to bring that from point A to point B. Money seems to be the problem with anything that we do. You're in this room, there's no water. Where's that coming from? It needs to come from a source. And we need to incubate ourselves or move ourselves from point A to point B with money. Money is missing from anything that we're doing. And I think a lot of people are starting these movements, but they're not getting anywhere because of funding. You can have these after-school programs, you can have all these Saturday events, but a mother cannot do that on her own. There's no men. So what are we doing about incorporating men into our solution? See, we need to address problems that are affecting our families, and it starts right here.
Say your name, your organization, and contact information out loud, please.
My name is Richard.